Ahora de Cuba la Bella, del Palacio de los Jugos.
Los chicharrones.
Los vecinos aquí se enteran de todo.
Mi vecina era CDR en Cuba.
Y en verdad no hay nothing that you can do. Chacleteras sin llames con corbata.
Aquí yo vendo hot dog, pero Cuba yo era médico.
Le saco el dedo y digo Q. Sweet home Hialeah. Solo 30 minutos de Le Bayo. Oh, sweet home Hialeah. I hate your traffic, but I love you.
Oh, whoa, look who's there. At least his neck. What is up, Alex Atiachiska? How you doing, brother? Oh, you muted
up,
still?
Man? I
there you
just sat down right now.
Yes, so
yeah. Can you hear me?
I hear you okay. Yes, you're a little slow and all that, but that's all right. I know you just got home. 7-1 score, clinched first place. Was that volleyball?
No, that's basketball. That's my son's league. That's the rec league.
Oh, 7-1 record.
7-1 record this year. Yeah, we clinched the top seed, and
nice.
It's crazy. So we're off. We're off for like 2 weeks. It's kind of like one of these layers off, which is bad because you kind of want to, keep playing. So we clinched the top seed. We got to wait 2 weeks for the playoffs. So we just got to keep scrimmaging and practicing. But obviously they celebrated. It was one of our girls' birthday because it's a co-ed team. There's one girl usually per team, and she's amazing. She's the best defender actually. It's cool. It's cool. They had a good time.
Awesome. Well, let me welcome everybody to East 10th Street Boy, straight out of Hialeah. That's Alex the Boy, and this is Bobby El Gringo, as usually know me as Bobby Finstock. But here we go by the names of basically our childhood. We call Alex the Boy because of my sister Alex, and I guess we couldn't give him a better name, so we called him Alex the Boy. And then I was Bobby El Gringo because even though I was Puerto Rican growing up in a Cuban house, I was the white guy, basically, in Hialeah. So that's, if you're tuning in for the first time, that's why the names are what they are. We talk sports. We got plenty to talk about sports tonight. Not only did the Dolphins get their draft done, very interesting prospects, very interesting reactions from the fans, but also the Florida Panthers eliminate the Bruins. The Miami Heat eliminate the Bucks and go up a game against the New York Knicks. Evan Postner's in the comments there. John Santos, everybody tuning in, thank you so much. Smash that like and subscribe button. We appreciate you. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff going on, and then of course we will talk about, in regards to Dolphins, the draft picks. We're going to talk about the undrafted free agents. We're going to get Alex's thoughts on the draft since he hasn't had a chance to talk about it. We're also going to discuss, we're also later on going to do a bracket fight thing that we did last time. I found it finally. So we are going to do that. It's going to be best movie franchises. So you could participate in that. I saw it wasn't 1,000 movies and a bunch of random movies. No, it was some good movies in there. So I went with that. Winners of the draft. So I'm very interested to find out what Evan's meaning by that. I know he texted me. He has proof. He said tomorrow's episode for Fitz Bandwagon is Dolphins winners of the draft, and totally different than what he was saying during the draft. So I wonder, after you have a chance to digest what you've seen, he says, I have proof to say they had the best draft. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what he's talking about and what's his point since the days of the draft. And we will move on. That will be on tomorrow night. But we're going to give our 2 cents on the NFL draft, maybe the shockers of the draft as well, and obviously talk Dolphins. Jews are 20 minutes early. Well, Cubans, Hispanics in general, Cubans are usually 20 minutes late. So it is what it is. So
we even have the Jewish. We even have the Jewish community.
That's correct. So Santos says Bobby will never be noted for running the trains on time. I guess that's an Italian thing. Okay. I was here. I was excited to sit here.
Husbands die before their wives. Why? Why, Santos?
Why, John? John is starting early. Okay. So before we move on, Alex, before I let these guys get their typical Evan post game to Bane, right? That's true, Evan. You're absolutely right. Evan was always like that. And you know what? That's why it's called raw reaction. We're there live. You try to keep the fan out of it, but you can't, even though we're covering the draft. You're so excited. We've been covering the draft since, well, for me, before the season ended, but then after the season, everybody got on board. We're hyped up. We're looking at these draft picks. We're looking at the prospects that are available. I'm banging the table for Darnell freaking Washington. He's on the board at 51. Brady Quinn all over again. I want Darnell. He's there. We get Cam Smith. So raw reaction. It's not against the player. It's against the pick. So I remember mine was a non-reaction. Evan was warning me. He goes, "Oh, dude, these are guys. You guys are gonna be pissed. You ready? You ready? You ready?" So I hit the bell, ding, 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 or the drop bell. And he goes, "It's Cam Smith, South Carolina corner." And I know who he is because we talked about him on the draft show. We talked about defensive back as a possibility before we traded for Jalen Ramsey. Then it kind of died down. Corner was no longer really a need. Now, 24 hours, 48 hours later, people start to explain things like, well, wait, the Dolphins' defensive backfield was plagued with injuries. Xavier Howard was hurt most of the year, even though he played. Byron Jones is out for the year. We were depending on Kader Kohu. We were depending on Nick Needham was out. Trill Williams is out, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we needed to draft a corner. You know what? That's a very fair argument. I'm down with that argument, Alex. So, but again, you could have. Let me explain how this kind of gets screwy here. Okay? I get that part. I can understand that. But you could have still addressed the corner without getting a Cam Smith, who I think could be a very good player. I liked him coming out of South Carolina. I liked him as a prospect. You wanted a running back. Okay. You did something that people said Chris Grier is not known for doing. The same people who are loving on Devon Chain were the ones saying that that the Dolphins weren't going to draft a running back because that's not what Chris Grier does. But then he drafts him, and all of a sudden we love him. So if you wanted a running back, Zach Charbonnet, who was my third back besides Robinson and Gibbs, was Charbonnet. A thumper, a hard hitter. I really enjoyed him. I don't know if you're muted or not or whatever. If you're talking to someone else, that's okay. But Zach Charbonnet was 52. Okay? You could have had him at that point. Look at 84. If you go to the 84th pick, which was then our running back, Devon Chain, who we did draft a running back. Let's say you wanted to go corner. Let's say you're really concerned about the corner market. You didn't want to draft a tight end at that spot. Okay, fair game. So if you go down to 84, let's look at the players after 84. Trenton Simpson, Diane Henley, DeMarvion Overshown. These are all linebackers. All right, but let's say, no, Bobby, I'm interested in a corner. Fine. Let's go. This is right around in round 4, right at the start of round 4. There's a certain corner sitting there who should not really be sitting there. Okay? It's not fast enough for McD. He has Raheem Mostert. I don't want to hear about fast enough. Who is the better back? Charbonnet.
Raheem Mostert.
Hold on. Round 4. You want a corner? Kylie Ringo at 105. You could have drafted him at 84. He's worth the 84 pick. A lot of people had him in the first and second round. So you could have got a better back and a comparable corner at that spot. But you chose Cam Smith, and then you got Devon Chain, who people say Barry Sanders. Stop it. Don't put that pressure on that kid. Okay? Don't say Barry Sanders because he's the exact weight and height and all that crap. All right. I'm not worried about the 6th and 7th round. Honestly, I'm not hating on those guys at all. I'm very intrigued by Elijah Higgins. Again, that's where you draft projects. He's a project pick at the 6th and 7th round. That's where you make those type of picks. So I'm intrigued by that pick. I don't hate the players from rounds 2 and 3. I don't like the picks because of how it went down. Alex, you watched from the outside in, or you got or reacted after or whatever. What are your initial thoughts off the board at 84? No, he wasn't. He was we're not saying 84, AB. We were talking about 51. The Cam Smith was taken at 51 and Charbonnet was taken at 52. That's what I said, not 84. I said Kylie Ringo at 84. If you wanted a corner so bad, you could have gone Ringo at 84 and Charbonnet at 52 or 51. Alex, your thoughts on the draft? It's my initial reaction and how my thoughts on it. I'm excited for the players. They're Dolphins now. We'll salute them. But I do criticize the picks. I didn't think those were the right picks, but hey, they're good players. No hate on them, just hating on the picks. Your thoughts?
Well, I was happy overall. You know how I feel. I as a GM, I like drafting talent. I understand at times everything aligns perfectly where the best available talent is at a position of need. So it's the perfect pick, or somebody falls, kind of like what happened with us with Tunsil. We needed O-line. He fell. We were able to draft him, and it overtakes everything that you have planned. He's number 1 in your draft board, right? So I'm super excited with the draft pick because I feel that this goes against the norm for Chris Greer, honestly. The pick for Cam Smith, the moment I saw it, I knew that was a Vic Fangio pick. That's something that you, not obviously with your scouts, but
Fair.
You talk to your DC at that moment, and you know what he wants. And you can argue that we have some holes here and there, but last year the unit that underperformed the most was the defensive unit. And we did have problems with our cornerbacks because of injuries and all that. So I understand the dynamic there. Still, talent-wise, I'm okay with the Cam Smith pick. I think he's what I love most about Cam Smith. I'm not even going to talk about his on-field mechanics and all that. I just love his persona. He fits this defense persona-wise, what we want to do. To me, he's under the same scope of like the Jalen Ramsey type of attitude. So I know Fangio's going to work wonders with him. And he's probably not going to contribute right away, so I'm okay with that. What I'm really excited about, honestly, is the running back. How do you pronounce his last name? Ashami?
Chain.
Or
you can call him A-Train. That's going to be the
A-Train. To me, he will flourish in this offense. It's not only about his speed. He's a pass catcher. He looks like a strong back. And he to me, it could be the missing link. I believe out of all of them, obviously Higgins is intriguing as hell, man. He's a freight train running. He is fast. He is fast, man. And he's a pass catcher. And I feel that he will develop little by little. I'm intrigued by it because you're drafting an athlete at tight end. You're not drafting a prototypical tight end. I understand we need a blocking tight end. I feel he's strong enough to be a blocking tight end. He looks strong enough. I don't know. I haven't seen his tape or anything. Like you said, I'm from the outside in. What I'm excited about that I feel that this draft was in cohesiveness with what they're doing offensively, with what they're doing defensively. The talent is there. And then one of the quotes that I love about Greer and McDaniel is they're not done. They're still adding. I love the unrestricted free agent, the undrafted free agent class that they've brought in, even the linebacker.
I'm very happy with the undrafted free agents.
So overall, I think for the fact that we have 4 picks, which also I take into account that one of those picks was to acquire Chubb, a 3rd round pick was to acquire Ramsey. So you people have to take that into play too. I understand having multiple picks gives you more opportunities, but to me, I was very happy the fact that we went talent. We didn't go to fill a hole. We don't care about the narrative. We didn't go to fill a hole. We filled talent.
Okay, so very quick. Evan, Ramsey played multiple roles last year. I think Ramsey actually alluded to that, Evan, in a tweet. I would not be surprised because I know we talked about Cam Smith possibly playing safety for Miami next year, but don't be surprised if it's Jalen Ramsey playing at safety and Cam Smith fills that role. That's something that's kind of been playing up. I'm no draft scout. I'm not a draft scout, but A-Chain looks like the best running back on the roster right now. AB. That's fine, AB. I don't know that's a draft scout, but I would think that's a little bit of a homer, and I don't mean that in a bad way because that's still Raheem Mostert on the roster. I think Achane could have the ability. He's going to fit perfectly in the offense if you take everything else and your feelings and take it out of the picture and you look at the players. Yeah, Achane looks like a perfect complement in a Mike McDaniel offense. He's fast. He's he's small. You worry about his size a little bit, but his speed alone makes this offense or puts it up a little higher on a level in regards to the kid. Now they have to use him. It can't be like last year.
Higgins? Is he talking about Higgins here?
I think the kid at 6 makes the field. If you think that kid at 6 makes the field this year, God bless you. No, he's talking about Achane. He's talking about Achane. He's talking about Achane. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think he will see the field, but not.
Yeah.
Oh, the kid at 6 in the 6th round.
The
kid at 6.
Higgins. No, that's not
makes
Higgins.
The field
that's Higgins.
He's first off, he's a project. Okay.
Yeah.
I like the potential. I like the idea that they're thinking there. Again, everyone knows what tight end I wanted. Everybody knows the tight ends I wanted. Darnell, Cam Latu, Brenton Strange. You can go. Those are the guys and they were all there, but Miami skipped them. They did not see, and which was obvious when you let a Gesicki walk and you re-sign a Durham Smythe and you get a Subar or a Subair, whatever his name is. Evan would correct me now if he's here. That's obvious that tight end was that much of a priority, but not a priority, but still a priority enough to draft a receiver who is more of an H-back and flip him as a tight end. Hey, look, they've done this before. It hasn't been successful. Let's not pretend they've never done it before. Chris Greer has done this before with other coaches, draft guys, sign guys, and try to flip them, and they don't work out. Could be the same deal.
Yeah.
But again, that's what the 6th round is for. I'm not critical of the 6th or 7th round picks. It's and different with 2nd and 3rd. I like Mostert, but Mostert doesn't have.
I think Mostert is the complete opposite. I think he has great vision.
Yeah, I don't know. And Sue Sauerberg. Evan does that for me. No, Evan does that for me. And I appreciate it. I really do. I mean, I could butcher the name. I'm not as bad as our good friend Steve Malloy. I mean, But I don't mean it. Love you, Steve. God bless. But I like Mostert is a veteran. He had 900 some odd yards last year. Almost had 1,000 in this offense.
What do you average? Like 4 point
touchdowns. Something? He's a very good veteran in this league. Most teams, and I think all 32 teams would have him on the roster. Achane is a 3rd round pick.
Yeah,
84th overall. Does not mean he's going to be a bad back. No one is saying that. No. But let's not put the pedestal on because we got our glasses on, our fan glasses on, and say, oh, he's the best back on the roster. Slow your roll. Let's give him a chance. Okay.
Can I still tell you, Bob? I still think our running back room will be.
Can you smell what the Rocket's cooking?
I still think our running back room will be Cook, Mostert, and Achane.
Yes. I don't. In regards of Dalvin Cook, I don't think it's dead. I think the Dolphins kind of hinted at that. I think reports are still coming out. We'll see how that turns out. The odd man out. I know people say Gaskin and Ahmed. Look, Gaskin and Ahmed are probably automatic, or at least Gaskin are already out. They're just on the roster. They're camp body. Jeff Wilson is the odd man out if you're talking about the 3 main guys now. Because, again, $2.2 million cap hit if you move him now. After June 1st, it's a $785 something. So then you could possibly cut him or trade him at that point, maybe for a mid-round pick.
There's always injuries. So at that time, there's going to be a team that wants to acquire Jeff Wilson if we can move him. So you always hold them onto that.
Did Philadelphia beat Boston game 1? Is that what just happened?
Let me check.
I see Dave Stager just texted Brett. I'm on a group chain with them. And
if they did that and Embiid didn't play, Boston is on for a long series, man. Yep. They beat them 119-115.
Wow.
Without Embiid, this has to be a Harden game. Let me see how many.
Can I be honest with you?
Harden 45 points.
Good.
Of course, man.
I'm going to tell you. I prefer the 76ers over Boston against the Heat.
We match up better. We match up better with the Sixers.
I think so too. So, and we're going to get into Heat talk right now, and we'll go through. And Dolphins, that's going to continue throughout the show because it's very intriguing, very interesting. We're going to talk about it all. A lot. And our reaction. See, Evan right now is in another thing right now, and that's cool. and I've learned to be more happy with the picks as I've got, because again, Cam Smith from 2 years from now or a year from maybe could be
You never know.
a great player, could be a great Dolphin.
And you mentioned
Awesome.
this. You mentioned this, and you made a great point, Bob. And we've talked about this many times. You mentioned it after the draft. You cannot judge a draft the day after the draft. You got to let it play out. That's what you said, and it's true, 100%.
It's absolutely true. You could go based off, again, it's not like, oh, we were just watching a draft and we never paid attention to the draft till that day, and now we're pissed. We were going off. No, Evan, Michael Vogel, myself, Rob Mosley, Josh Wingate, Brett Lagasse, Dave Stager. We were doing draft coverage and working draft stuff, doing prospect reports, watching player tape. We knew who we wanted for each pick, or for the Dave for the Packers, and then Dolphin fans for Dolphins, and then Cowboys for Wingate. We knew what we wanted. So, and Kyle Krabs was on Clock Blockers today with Stephen Daniels on his channel.
What's the name of that?
I actually will be on there tomorrow morning, Alex, for 3.5.
What's the name of it?
TikTok Clock Blockers. Is it interesting, right?
I love that. I
thought it was quite
amazing.
Yes. So, but Kyle Krabs, who's one of the better in the business, and who has, I think, the Draft Network, and now he's for some Dolphin channel, but he said the same thing. Loves the players, likes the players, does not like the picks, which was something Evan, myself, Rob, Evan, and Rob being the more positive. Evan, and I think Evan and I are the same, except maybe we could go on about different things. But Evan's leaves his emotions on his sleeves. Give him a couple days, and then like we say, best draft. We'll see what he's talking about. That I think this is Homer Evan coming in. But Rob, on the other hand, Rob's a more of calm, collected. Let's see how it's going. Where I said the same kind of thing though. We all said the same thing. Like the players, don't like the picks. And so it's a wait and see. You cannot, it's always from the outside perspective, because we're not in the inside of the building. The team gets who they want. All right. They believe, like I said, the Dolphins believe they are on the cusp of making a big time run this year. And Mike McDaniel and Chris Greer both said, basically, they're not done. So we could be hating on the picks, and I think they understand that. It's up to them.
They don't mind.
It's up to them to prove everyone else wrong. They got to hope Cam Smith was drafted because they truly believe he's worthy of that 51st pick. He's going to be a very good Dolphin. And it's not because he plays with Chris Greer's son in college. It's not because they misread the needs. They have to hope for that. And hopefully next year we're going, oh, man, A-Chain's going to be way better next year, man. What a year. Or, wow, he showed real good flashes. Not preseason flashes, regular season flashes. Man, Cam Smith came up big in some games.
In that quarterback room, Bob, that you got Jalen Ramsey, Xavier Howard, Cater Kohu, Cam Smith, Needham.
Trill Williams.
Like you have depth and talent.
Wide receiver and corners right now are our deepest, most talented positions. And it's what's crazy is, I don't know, Miami can get better a little bit at wide receiver. I don't know about Cedric Wilson. Do we move him? Who's going to be our third guy? Do we trust the third guy? That's a wait and see. So let's just go ahead and let's talk about a little bit. Let's just run down this list and undrafted free agents as well.
Go ahead.
This is from DolphinsThirsty.com. Rob Mosley put up the list here. Got it from Barry Jackson.
Great content, by the way. Great content.
Awesome content. Awesome stuff. DolphinsThirsty.com. If you haven't gone there yet, go there. And he tries. I write on that site as well, and I invite anybody who loves talking Dolphins, who doesn't mind writing.
Evan said this. Didn't we sign a kicker?
A punter.
We signed a punter?
Michael Turk, Matt Turk's nephew, who used to play for the Dolphins.
Of course, man. Oh, my God.
But we have a Pro Bowl punter. I'm not really. I know. Anthony Manzano is very excited because he's been begging for a freaking punter and a kicker all draft process. Aubrey Miller, linebacker, Jackson State. I'm very intrigued by that pick, by that signing, undrafted free agent signing. Very intrigued by that guy.
Another Fangio like guy.
And played, very mean. Played for Deion Sanders, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did.
We did go quarterback. We did sign a quarterback. Obviously, can't body. James Blackman. Yep, Blackman. James Blackman.
From FSU.
Quarterback, Arkansas State, FSU. Ezekiel Vanderbilt, linebacker, Illinois State. Saw some of his stuff. Liked him. I think he's more of an edge rusher. I like what I saw with him.
But Bob, have you seen the common denominator in all these players?
Give it to me.
Attitude. They're dogs. They're dogs.
Brandon Pillay, which is what Evan's talking about. The defensive lineman USC. I like what I saw with him. Julian Hill, tight end Campbell. Aloma Ulave, center out of San Diego State. Bennett Williams, safety out of Oregon. Anthony Montalvo, defensive lineman, Central Florida. Jarris Hurst, offensive lineman, Michigan State. We did draft a guy from Michigan, offensive tackle Ryan Hayes.
Yes. Right.
We did draft him.
He looks solid. He looks pretty
solid. Again, grain of salt, 7th round pick, but still. Chris Brooks, running back out of BYU. Daywood Davis, wide receiver, Western Kentucky. Randy Charlton, defensive lineman, Mississippi State. Ethan Bonner. Maybe Ethan Boner. I don't know. It's one of those two. Ethan Bonner. I'm going to go with that. Corner, Stanford.
What's up, Miss Fins?
Miss Fins in the house. It's my girl, man. The one and only. Draft was all right. She was the same. I mean, Miss Fins, put in the comments there if you don't mind, because I don't want to put words in your mouth. Your initial reactions to the draft picks. I think you and I were on the same page, but I don't want to put words in your mouth. So if you could just put your thoughts on how you reacted to the draft picks, and has that changed 48 hours later? So continuing that list, Garrett Nelson, defensive lineman, Nebraska. We did get a Hurricane linebacker, Mitchell Agude. I could butcher that name. I probably am. Alex Jensen, San Diego State or South Dakota State University offensive lineman. Chris Coleman, wide receiver, Pal Tech. DJ Scaife, offensive lineman, University of Miami. Michael Turk, punter, Oklahoma. Anthony Mazzano. And Keydron Smith, defensive back, Kentucky Ole Miss. So pretty decent list. You take it with a grain of salt. These guys aren't going to be starters. They're not going to be on the 53, most of them, anything like that. But a solid group of guys. Miami went to work. And that's what you could criticize Greer in the front office or the whatever all you want. But when it comes to undrafted free agents, they put in the work. That's scouting department. And so I'm excited to see which one of these guys are the next Kade Kohu. That's where it is. I'm on full hopium mode right now. Yeah, I see that. Again, like the players, don't like the picks. That's my initial reaction, and that's where it is. But 48 hours later, listening to other people, listening to maybe the thought process that came into drafting a Cam Smith at 51, talk about the injuries and all this. It makes sense. I get it. But again, you draft a running back, you could have got Charbonnet at 51. You drafted a corner, could have got Kali Ringo at 84, who went 101, who's 6'3", whatever, the big size corner, physical corner. Love him. Like Cam Smith, but I would have been happy with Kali Ringo. So neither here nor there. All right. So you guys continue putting your questions, your comments below. Best player available over need.
I love that. There you go. Always.
Were they the best player available? Players. That's my see. I don't get. Were they the best player available? And that's the thing. Go pull up the draft at those picks when you go to 51, and you tell me, looking at that list without your Homer glasses on, and tell me were they the best player available. So before you say that, it was really bored. You're bored over best player available over need. Because if it was need, you would have drafted a tight end. If it was need, you would have got offensive lineman. If it was need, you would have defensive lineman. So don't say best player over need, because were they really the best player at 51? Moving along. Keep putting your comments below. Appreciate you all watching East 10th Street Boys. Straight out of Hialeah. Don't make fun of people who wear glasses. I wear glasses. I mean fan glasses. Posner. Anyway, Bobby's setting all-time tardiness record. Yeah, baby. Okay, Joe. All right.
Cuban style.
Yeah, that's right. All right, Alex. So let's talk a little bit, and we'll continue Dolphins talk as people put your questions below. Alex and I will answer them. Alex will pop them up, and we'll discuss. But let's move along here because there's so much to talk about when it comes to Miami. And that is, let's start first with the Miami Heat. And Alex, my question for you. So first off, the Heat, I'm proud of myself. My NBA bracket is still mostly intact. I did miss one. I'm trying to remember now. I don't have
Sacramento, the Warriors.
No, I had the Warriors over Sacramento.
Because what Steph did yesterday was
Cavs over Knicks. I had Cavs over the Knicks. Oh, okay. That's where I messed up. That's where my bracket was
next year.
Yeah, I had the Cavs over the Knicks. That's where, but everything else is intact. Lakers over Memphis. Warriors over Sacramento. Miami over Milwaukee, etc. So it's been moving along here. So everything's still intact. So I'm proud of myself. Now, let me make sure I forgot to upload something here, and I want to make sure I do it.
That's cool. And one thing I'll mention now that you say that, Bob, that goes to show you what a young team struggles with in the playoffs. Memphis ran into the same situation that Sacramento did against the Warriors. You cannot be veteran experience. That you will see that Sacramento and Memphis will both of them add veteran presence, whether it be a rotational player, someone on the end of the bench, because that's part of those are growing pains of young teams, and the Cavaliers as well. The Cavaliers are a veteran player away. That comes with experience, especially deep in the playoffs. So a lot of these teams that are going to be successful for years to come, you struggle the first year. You're going to get bounced out of the first round. That's normal. It's growing pains, so they have bright futures. A lot of teams in the NBA have bright futures. And this is the most parity I've ever seen in the NBA for the time I've been alive and watching basketball. Across the board on any given season, any team, I would count maybe 6 to 8 teams could win a championship. Right now, the way it's constructed, because remember, now we're coming off the fall off of the LeBron dominance. Curry has a few years, but that Warriors dynasty is going to die down too. You see the struggles at times, but you still see the masterful plays. And these young boys, these young bloods, they got to stop making fun of old people. They got to start calling people old. You did that with the Warriors. They beat you. You called the Lakers old. They beat you. Stop calling people old. There's a reason they're old. They have experience. So just play the game.
I think he learned his lesson. I like LeBron came out and stepped up and even said something. He didn't stay classy or nothing. He came out.
You see what he did? Is if you see me fighting a grizzly in the woods, help the grizzly.
Help the grizzly. Yeah. I liked it. I liked it. But talking about Miami, and we'll talk more about the playoffs in a second, but talk about Miami. Move it like that. That's better. The Heat go ahead and beat the Bucks. I don't care what anybody says. Oh, Giannis was hurt. Giannis played. Okay. Nobody gave the Heat a chance, even when Giannis went out. So I don't want to hear anything about excuses. The Heat took out the Bucks. And then Stephen A. Smith, which was speaking more as a fanboy thing than he was actual NBA commentator.
He always does.
I know, but really hard for the Knicks. We're saying, the Mecca, Madison Square Garden, the Heat. You know, they're going to stop this guy because they never played in Madison Square Garden. Like, who the hell? What the hell is Madison Square Garden? Hey, Jamila, what's up, girl?
On the other side of the room right now.
That's right. Look at that. Yeah. But anyway,
McDonald's.
The Heat go on. They win against the New York Knicks in game 1. Jimmy has another. First off, it was a more balanced win, first of all. Can't deny anyone else. Everyone else did a damn good job. But Jimmy showed out. Jimmy had he played for 43 minutes with a bummed ankle after that bad rollover on there. He had 25 points, 4 assists, 11 rebounds. I mean, great game. Gabe Vincent with 20 points. Kyle Lowry with 18 points, with 6 assists, 5 rebounds. Kevin Love with only 9 points, but I mean, his presence was felt.
Oh,
Kevin Love,
amazing. It was amazing. Yes.
You know, and then Bam Adebayo, 16 points, 2 assists, 8 rebounds. Let me ask you this, and we'll get to the whole team in a second. But is playoff Jimmy unstoppable?
Absolutely. 100%.
I know everybody's talking about LeBron right now. I get it. Everyone is talking about LeBron. Steph Curry had an amazing Game 7 against Sacramento. But no one is performing on a consistent, consecutive basis in these playoffs than Jimmy freaking Butler. So and this goes for people in the comments as well, if you're an NBA fan, maybe you're not a Heat fan, but if you are, awesome. But tell me, is playoff Jimmy unstoppable? If he's not, why? Who can stop him? Who? What team?
And I'll tell you one thing.
Go ahead, Alex.
The reason playoff Jimmy's unstoppable. First of all, his mid-range shot is falling. Remember a couple of years ago, that was a knock on him, that he wasn't comfortable shooting. And Jimmy is a confidence player, so it's not about a mechanical issue. He tweaks his shot form at times, but he's pretty consistent. His shot, his effectiveness, his field goal percentage, I believe, is at an all-time high. I think this was his most efficient year statistically. I haven't checked that, but on the eye test, his pure efficiency rating is through the roof. And in the playoffs, he's just locked in. As a coach, you look at it, and defensively, there's little that you can do. You're basically at his will. It's at his mercy. What he chooses to do, you just have to try to contain. And obviously, it does facilitate. He becomes even more unstoppable due to the fact that our shots are falling. This was, and not an excuse to, I understand the front office might have missed a few opportunities to improve the team in season, before the season. We counted on drafted free agents. Perfect. I understand there were some regressions this year, but you can argue that we are clicking on all cylinders just at the right time. Minus the injuries of Tyler Hero and Oladipo, but this point in time, there is no other player in the NBA pound for pound, to me, that is unstoppable. I'm not saying a pure scorer. I'm not saying that can dominate a game. He's an unstoppable force because he does it both on the offensive side of the basketball and on the defensive side of the basketball. LeBron was like that a few years ago. LeBron is no longer like that defensively. He could do it in spurts. Obviously, LeBron is still a more cerebral player. He's a more gifted player. But the will, that's one thing that people don't understand in a professional athlete. The will to win has to be greater than your fear of failure. And he doesn't have any fear of failure. That's why you see the way he is and the way he talks, the way he guarantees things. And that's contagious. In a team, you need someone to guide you. That is your most valuable player, most important player. For example, defensively, we understand Bam is the anchor. Since Bam is the anchor defensively, it gives Jimmy the ability to be basically a free safety there. But that doesn't mean he's careless. Jimmy Butler rarely makes mistakes. If you notice, rarely does Jimmy Butler gamble that he's not successful. So it's like calculated gambling defensively is what we call it, because he's there all the time. And is he gonna make a mistake here and there? Absolutely. Can you live with a few missed shots? Absolutely. Can you miss with one or two turnovers? Absolutely. But there is no one right now in the NBA. There's no team in the NBA, which is why I think our chances this year are so. I wouldn't want to say it's the most people. I honestly believe, and people might. I know last year we finished with the first seed, but this team, offensively and defensively, is better than last year's team. I don't know if the numbers support in the playoffs, absolutely, because this was the way we're playing now is how this team was designed to play during the regular season. If you look at our shooting percentage from three this year, a lot of the situations that we're in right now is because of that. It's not injuries, it's not anything. It's underperformance in certain categories that are just an anomaly. You couldn't see that coming. Could it be players were playing out of position? They were beyond their ceilings. They had reached the point. But you got Vincent, an undrafted free agent. He dropped 22 points, made 5 3-pointers. Hell of defense on Brunson when he was on it yesterday. So you can justify that talent is there. This team is playing unstoppable basketball just at the right time. So that's why, and they made a point yesterday. Ethan Skolnick tweeted out yesterday, the Panthers and the Heat just solidified that it's pointless to watch regular season games because what matters is the playoffs. I'm not saying you're going to cruise through the regular season. Regular season is to give you positioning, home court advantage. You please the fans, you make money. But when it counts, you got to perform when it does count.
There you go.
And Jimmy does just that.
So, and it's just amazing to see a consistent, consecutive, great play by Jimmy. And you go, damn, when you look at the rest of the roster, because I asked that question here. Who is Jimmy unstoppable? Is the Heat unstoppable? No. Is Jimmy unstoppable? That's a different question. Who could stop him? Well, if you go look at the other rosters, you look, let's say, for instance, Philadelphia, who just won against Boston. They got a 2-star whatever type of team, right? Joel Embiid, James Harden on some nights. They just won without Joel Embiid. You look at Boston, you go Jason Tatum, who I'm never impressed with in the playoffs, to be honest. That's just me. Brown, you look at their roster. That's like kind of a 2-star combo. You look at the West, you got Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. I'm very intrigued to see if that actually goes on the Lakers. AD, LeBron James. Those are 2-star teams. And you look at Miami, go, man, they only have really 1 star. They really do, which is Jimmy. He's the superstar. Other guys, Bam is kind of growing, but Bam could be hot and cold. It's just what it is. Kyle Lowry, champion, a veteran. He's a very good player. Was a star in Toronto, but that's where it stops. Kevin Love, who I've been banging the table for I don't know how many years now. It's finally in Miami Heat, and he's making all the difference. When you look at this roster and you look at Jimmy, and you go, well, who's going to help Jimmy? Who's going to help Jimmy against a LeBron and AD if they go to the finals, or a Tatum and a Brown? Well, then you look at what happened yesterday, and you look at Gabe Vincent. And if you're an average NBA fan on another team, you go, who? You don't know who Gabe Vincent is. Well, guess what? He scored 20 points. I think he was, what is he? How many 3-pointers? Like 5 3.
And
right?
Defensively, he shut down.
Kyle Lowry had 18 points. That's what you want. That's what you asked for out of him when you got him. He showed up. Kevin Love, 9 points. Meh. But if you're not watching the game, you're not really seeing what he's doing. He's a facilitator.
Do it justice.
It does not do it. And he made threes. Okay? 9 points, but he made some key shots. When I say is the Jimmy Butler unstoppable, if his team keeps coming up like this for him on game day, where he doesn't have to score 50 some odd points, you better freaking believe it. I said it before the playoffs, and Alex was covering Heat all season, and I didn't get to watch Heat too much, but I know the Heat enough to say they struggled this year more than we thought they would. But I said, wait till the playoffs. I predict they're going to be better. They're a better playoff team than they are a regular season team. They're a playoff team. And lo and freaking behold.
The reason this playoff, what the story of this playoff, Bob, and you see as we advance, because I believe we will continue to advance, role players have stepped up. And any given day, another role player has a significance that changes the outcome of the game. Whether it be Max Strus, whether it be Duncan Robinson shooting, whether it be Gabe's defense, whether it be Kyle Lowry stepping up as backup minutes, whether it be Kevin Love with his outlet passes, his rebounding. Kevin Love is going to be very important in this series because they have a tall front court. Randall didn't play. So when Randall comes back, now you got Bam assignment, you got Kevin Love with Mitchell Robinson. And the Mitchell Robinson situation, Mitchell Robinson, I'll keep fouling him. I'll keep putting him on the line. He's a bad free throw shooter. So I guarantee you they're going to start playing towards that route. Make him beat you. You can give up Mitchell Robinson 20 points, 10 rebounds. That's fine. You have to contain Brunson, and you have assistants to contain Brunson with Jimmy, with Gabe. So it's the evolution. And one thing that I'll be monitoring, obviously, it's a very iffy situation. Obviously, Jimmy's going to get treatment across the board, around the clock until it's game time, until game 2. And no, we're not going to have a decision. We're not going to know if he's going to play or not. This is a risky part where it's the sprain bad enough that you should sit him out because you risk further injury, which affects your next series. We already took game 1. I'm not saying you're just going to fold because I'm comfortable if Jimmy's not playing. This team is clicking. If Jimmy doesn't play, this team is free offensively as well. Bam becomes a focal point, yes, but this team is free to play. You might see some Highsmith minutes in his place because Spo's definitely not going to mess around with a reserve rotation right now that he has with Lowry, Robinson, Caleb Martin. He likes where we're at right now with that, and I respect it because I'm the same way. I try not to change the comfortable. My rotations, I try to keep them as close as possible when I'm comfortable with them, and just implement a supplemental player that is missing.
What's the Knicks record and the Heat and the Knicks record this year? Do you know it?
Knicks, well, remember the Knicks got that buzzer beater on us. Well, not a buzzer beater, but end of the game where Randall made that 3-pointer.
Yeah,
but I think we lost the season series. But
okay,
I don't really take that into account.
No, I don't either. I just want to know in case we do get a Jimmy. If Jimmy steps out, I would hope, like the 76ers, the Heat stay. No, let's stay committed to getting that W.
You try to come back 2-0. Absolutely.
Yeah. You know, if Jimmy sits out and you do what's best for Jimmy, sit him out, okay, because you're looking at game 3, you're looking at game 4, you're looking at the next series.
Bam Adebayo
needs to step up.
Yeah.
Okay.
What I'm surprised that Bam wasn't more of a facilitator. I'm surprised Spo didn't use him in the same role that he did when we closed down Milwaukee towards the end, especially with Randall not being there. I do expect when Randall's there for him to be more facilitator.
And well, that's the thing too. Okay, so let's say Jimmy's out, Randall's in. It's going to be a tougher game, right? Bam Adebayo's going to have to step up. Kevin Love is going to be more of a player than he was. Which is, again, it's not a knock. I think we have the pieces to steal a game 2 in New York without a Jimmy. You know, you definitely want him game 3 and 4. But if Miami, again, honestly, and I'm not, you can accuse me of that, and that's fine. Heat in 5. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, I said Heat in 6, but by taking game 1,
I said Heat in 7 against Milwaukee, and I think I was one off. So I'll say Heat in 5 here. So I'll take.
And Milwaukee actually said Heat in 5. I did say that.
You did, yeah.
I did say that.
You did.
I want to see if we took game 1. If we took game 1, I knew we were going to take it serious.
So that's how it is. So let's go ahead and let's talk about another South Florida team who, like the Miami Heat, as the 8th seed. No hope.
Cardiac Cats, man.
Who struggled at the beginning of the season, came on strong in the second half of the season, sneak into the playoffs, go against the Bruins, expected to be swept, down 3-1.
3 games to 1, yeah.
Win 3 straight.
Mm-hmm.
The Florida freaking Panthers.
And the way they won the last 2 games. Yes,
upset the Bruins. I mean, what a game yesterday. I was watching it as I was producing one of our shows, Once Upon a Sunday fantasy football show, and it was 2-0, Panthers up. I'm like, oh, that's perfect. But I saw the time, and I went, oh, well, shit. So, and also, and also it's 2-1, 2-2, 3-2 Bruins. I'm like, well, crap. 59 seconds, 3-3 Panthers. It's late. I said, okay, I'm gonna go I gotta take a shower. It's over. It's like they were doing a talk show for overtime.
When I heard I gotta take I thought you were gonna say something else, man. You pivoted good there.
That's right. So oh, well, there it is.
Oh, is that a Canadians fan I see?
So I turn back. They're doing their talk show. Evan Postner in the house. They're doing their talk show before overtime. So I said, I got plenty of time. I'm going to go take a quick shower, and I'm going to go ahead and jump out and watch the end of this game. I get distracted. I'm on my phone. That's as guys do when we're in the bathroom. We're on the phone and, looking stuff up, TikToks or whatever, Twitter, and, posting shit, looking at shit. And taking a shit. And TikTok. And and
boys be boys.
Boys being boys. And then so all of a sudden I go right before I hop in the shower, I turn the shower on and I talk to Siri, and I said, Siri, what's the score between the Panthers and the Bruins? Just to see like what how many minutes I have left. 4-3, timeout, time is over. I went, oh crap! So
you just missed the ending.
I ran out.
That ending, Bobby?
I ran out of my bathroom.
Oh my!
Dateline was on. So what? So I go and I running around. Tati's not even in there. I go, what did you do? She goes, I saw you weren't in there. I said, neither are you. Why would you touch it? They go, I don't know. So I had to turn it. Now they're shaking hands. So I'm like, oh. So shame on me,
Bob,
but still, Panthers win.
Oh my God!
Round 2. So first off, before I get your reaction, Alex, let's welcome the one and only, our brother from another mother, from Canada, Canada's own Evan Postner, our family Jew.
Bleu Blanc Rouge.
Our network Jew. What's up, my brother?
Colors. I wear aqua orange or wear the red. These are my teams.
So who's your hockey team? I'm sorry.
I wonder who. You don't know
Montreal
who my hockey team
Canadiens.
is?
Montreal
Yeah.
Canadiens.
Of course.
Yeah.
Why do you think I hate the Leafs so much? Come
Oh,
on.
I'm sorry. Oh man. All right.
Gotta be
So
careful.
you're rooting for Florida then?
I'm going to tell you exactly where our dilemma is if you want to know what it is.
Go for it.
Last year we decided we were going to tank last year because we really had a rough season, and we got the first round pick. We got the first draft pick at the beginning of the last draft, and this year we tried to tank again, but we ended up playing higher than we should have, even though we had all these injuries. We traded last year with Florida, one of our top defensemen, and we got their first round pick this year. You don't have a first round pick in Florida, and it's sitting right now at 17. If Florida now makes it to the conference finals, it drops to 28, 29, 30, 31, or 32. So I have this dilemma because I'm a Montreal fan. We despise Toronto, the Leafs. Like for me, if I had a choice, literally of anything in the world for people to lose, it's the Toronto Maple Leafs to choke like dogs.
But
like
a friend of your enemy could be a potential friend.
No. There's you understand, Montrealers cheering for Toronto is sacrilegious. It's absolutely sad. Like it's worse than the Dolphins cheering for the Jets. Okay, that's how hardcore hockey is here, right?
I understand that.
Okay, like hockey in Montreal, we would even last night for Boston. It was part of us was like we hate the Bruins. There's a huge rivalry between the Canadiens and the Bruins forever, but we sort of wanted them to win because we think maybe they're a stronger team than Florida. But in the end, I'm happy because for me, the tough thing for me with Florida is growing up a Montrealer and then going to Florida all the time. I remember when how old was I when they first joined the league? I was like 10 or 11. I wore the ugliest winter jacket. It was a Florida Panthers beet red, orangey with a big panther on the back jacket. It was the ugliest thing, but I thought it was the coolest thing ever. Like John Van Beesbrook with the gold helmet, and Scott Mellenby, and like the fact that they made it to the finals in 94, 96. Ed Jovanowski was awesome and all that. Like that's what I miss, right? So like for me, but as a Canadiens fan, which I had no expectations. That was what's fun about this year. Is like we knew we weren't going to do well. It was sort of like with the Dolphins back in 2019. We never had expectations on it. We actually chose to do poorly because we're trying to build for the future. But the Leafs make me sick. But the only advantage of them but they beat a decimated team. They were dominant. They actually were out. They were outplayed in the series against the Lightning, and I feel bad for Kimball because that I think their run's over because they think they burnt out their players a little bit and they were exhausted. But the Leafs, I'm telling you, people, my boss's kid went from like the suburbs all the way to downtown Toronto. Like they won the Stanley Cup. There was like riots in the street for winning one round of hockey. They are so much pressure on them to win this next series. Like everyone thinks now they're going to coast through the series, which is the best thing for the Panthers because there's no expectation for the Panthers in this series because they're playing with house money. They were the eighth seed. They were the third. They were third in the comp. They were fourth in the comp. They were a wild card team. They outdid the Bruins down 3-1. There was no expectation for them to do anything. Going to the series, they're playing with house money. There's no pressure on the Panthers. The Panthers have no expectations this year.
That's what I like about it too, to be honest. I mean, they took out the number one team. Now my boss, my friend Gina, who's a diehard Preds fan, she's a hockey fan through and through. She loves the hockey. Any game that's on, she's watching. So I did a bracket just because she did it. She couldn't find one, so I had to find one, and that's where I got the bracket wars or bracket battles, Alex, because I found that for her so she could make a bracket. Okay. It's completely decimated. Her bracket was destroyed.
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
She had the Bruins
going
all the way.
The Devils are about to win. That was a crazy series.
See that? Okay. See the
Devils are about to win.
Look at that. So I think she had New York winning on that one. So
New York, that's another series. New York built their team for the playoffs. They got Tarasenko from St. Louis. They got Patrick Kane, a 3-time Stanley Cup winner from the Blackhawks. They have one of the top 5 goalies in the league, and they lost to a young team with a no-name goalie in Schmidt. Or Schmid, if you want to call him Schmid. They have a young guy in Jack Hughes, but they're a hard-nosed team, and they have a very, very good coach in Lindy Ruff. So they're going to be tough out against Carolina, who's Mitching, Pacioretty, and Svechnikov and that group. Like I know my hockey as well as I know my Dolphins.
You sound like it.
Yeah, I know every player.
Now that you say that, Evan, can I ask you a question? Because obviously, for our audience, if you're not here in Florida, a lot of people don't pay attention to the Panthers, but the Panthers have been building for a few years now, slowly but surely.
You have a great owner.
Last year, we had the best record in NHL.
Yeah.
We struggled. Obviously, the Q situation was an issue. Our interim head coach obviously was let go. What was the fall off? How did we go from being the top team in the NHL? Because talent wise, we just made once, which I agree
New
with the trade
coach
at the time.
New coach and Paul Maurice, new system.
Okay.
Injuries and the fact that you couldn't decide who your goalie was in Spencer Knight and Bobrovsky. Bobrovsky was put a lot of pressure on you, making $10 million and not being your number one. Then you had brought in Lyon at the end of the year to help you guys get into the playoffs because you guys weren't sure up to a playoffs until the last couple of games.
He started the last 8 games.
But your team, okay, I'm going to put it to you this way. I'm going to compare. You're going to love this comparison. The Miami Heat and the Florida Panthers are mirror images of each other this year in the sense that Jimmy Butler is not a regular season player; he's a playoff player. Matthew Tkachuk leaving Calgary, choosing to leave Calgary to come to Florida with a chip on his shoulder, was a 100-point player. He never got near that in Calgary, and the fact that he came here and played with such he's the type of player you need in the playoffs. He's your Jimmy Butler. And then you have Carter Verhaeghe, who is like an absolute wonder kid.
Yes,
like they're like he's sort of like that. He's that secret weapon that you guys need on your team. But then you guys are so stout with Ekblad on the blue line, and there's just and I think Bobrovsky has a lot to prove this year. And then you have Bennett, and you have Reinhart, and you have Barkov is just a leader in that locker room.
Yeah.
Maurice has that's why Maurice will easily outcoach Sheldon Keefe for the beliefs because he's just he literally, how old are you now, guys? You're 34. Paul Maurice was a coach. His first coaching job was the Hartford Whalers when he was 32 effing years old. So the guy's been around for like 25 years in this league, 30 years in this league, and he knows what he's doing. He's a very smart coach.
Exactly.
And you guys are hard. The thing about the Panthers is that there's a no quit attitude to that team. There's a no quit attitude.
So let me ask you this, and I'm going to read off what Fansided has in regards of a series odd prediction. But you, as a hockey fan, taking off the hate you have, the hate glasses off of the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Oh my God, there's like
unbiased.
It's the hatred's beyond words.
I understand.
Like really bad.
You take it off. What is your series prediction? Do the Florida Panthers have a chance, or
Panthers
have a chance?
Winning the series?
Oh, you have them winning the series.
No, there's not a question in my mind. Panthers are winning the series because there's no pressure. I'll tell you with the comparison. The Montreal Canadiens back. You guys were maybe not following it back in 2010, 2011, the year that who won that year? Maybe it was Chicago. It was Chicago. No, it wasn't Chicago. Against Philly. It was the Philly-Chicago series. We had a goalie by the name of Yaroslav Halak, who now plays for – who do you play for this year? I'm drawing a blank on where he's playing this year. But he backstopped us. We beat the Washington Capitals, who were the President's Trophy winners, by like 20 points. We beat them. Then we went in and beat Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin against the Penguins, and then we sort of faltered against the Penguins because we were gassed. You guys have that kind of mentality where you're hard-nosed. You guys have no quit. And the fact that you are beating teams you're not supposed to beat, the Leafs went in there not as the underdogs. The underdog story for the Leafs was the fact that they couldn't get over the hump. But they were a much better team than Tampa this year. They were better record by like 7 or 8 games. So it wasn't even close for them. Here, the Panthers are playing with also you guys have people on your team who have experience in so many different ways. If you look at your forwards, Barkov has had experience in whoever he needs to be. But when you have players like Eric Stahl, Matthew Tkachuk, who's been in the playoffs before, young guys like Carter Verhaeghe who's trying to prove himself, Duclair wants to prove something to himself, Lindell's a great player. Then you also, on your back end, when you have Ekblad and you have Gudis and you have but Mark Stahl's been there forever. Brandon Montour, oh my God, where's Brandon Montour come from? The guy was your MVP of your series. And the fact that you have Bobrovsky, honestly, Bobrovsky wins the goaltending match against Ilya Samsonov. You have a better goalie. They may have better offensive power, but you have a better overall defense because I think Ekblad's the best defender in the league in this series. And Tkachuk is going to drive Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner and John Tavares absolutely bananas. I take the Panthers in this series in 6.
Oh, damn, there you go. So don't even know. If
I want because I'm being unbiased because the Leafs have so much pressure on them. They think that that's the thing about the Leafs. And I'm going to do this comparison to the Canadians in Montreal, Bobby. You want to make the joke, and you brought me over to that end where I said I want consistency for years. I want a consistent team for years, and I wouldn't instead of a Super Bowl. I wish you wanted to contend. Look at the Leafs. The Leafs for the last 6 years were in the playoffs and they lost in the first round. They have not won a first round matchup in 19 years. Their stars Marner, Matthews, and Nylander, and are right now 1-11 in elimination games in their career. Up until when they won 2 nights ago, they were 0-11 in elimination games. The Montreal Canadiens, even with all our struggles, we've been to a Stanley Cup final and two additional conference finals in the time that the Leafs last won a first round. Like, I would take the Canadiens last 15, 20 years over them. Like, in a heartbeat. So for them, the pressure is so palpable there. They literally filled up a square 10 blocks long, and they almost lost their minds winning one freaking round. In Montreal, we win a round, whatever. We've won 24 Stanley Cups. What is it to us? Right?
So there you go. I'm not even going to read what they have here then. Gina was the same way. She had said to me, she said, I think Florida's going to take Toronto. So
I think Florida's going to take Toronto, and I think it's going to be Florida, New Jersey, because I think that New Jersey is going to come in with a lot of momentum, and I think Carolina is going to falter a little bit because they don't have 2 power scorers, and I think that they're missing the 2 best scorers to begin with, and I think they're going to struggle in the end. And I think I think there's a young, exciting factor in New Jersey, but we don't. But by the way, whoever's here. If Edmonton rolls through the next round because they're playing Vegas, if Edmonton gets to the finals, no one's winning them. They have the 2 best players in the league on their team, and they're playing. But that's the one thing about the rest of the season. Like right now, there's no real superstar goalies left. Like Carolina has Ranta. You guys have Bobrovsky, who's the best goalie probably out there. Samsonov, Schmidt, and then on the other side you have what's his name? I forget his name. Holy crap for Vegas. I'll come back to me in a second. He's a Quebecer, but he's literally a nobody. And then you have Skinner in Edmonton. You have the best guy probably is Ottinger in Dallas. And they're playing who are they playing now? Who won that other series? Holy crap. Who won the other series?
So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. I know you're going crazy right now, but I'm
having fun.
I'm going to change you up here.
The Kraken's playing Grubauer. So Ottinger's the best goalies in Dallas. The rest of them are all nobody goalies.
Congratulations to the Krakens. They took out the
Kraken, but the
Colorado.
Kraken also had nothing to lose, right? They beat the defending guys who were missing their captain Landeskog, but they were a well-built team. They're a very well-built team because unlike when the Panthers and the Lightning and the Thrashers came in, the expansion rules are very, very different, right? They were able to form a really good team at the beginning.
All right, so you and I, we were together Thursday, Friday. 4
Saturday.
hours, so 8 hours there, then 6 hours, almost. Well, you probably 4 hours because you had to leave. You had family, and
I left for 45 minutes to drive my kids home. It's all good.
Okay, so you were still a part of it. What's up, Adam? Thank you for tuning in, man. So we talked Heat, we talked Panthers, we talked Dolphins, but we're gonna round it back because Mr. Bandwagon is here, and he had the same reaction as I did almost. But his was more emotional than me. Even though I did kind of go on a little bit of a rant, but his was more emotional.
I made you get up and leave the room. When I told you about Langdon Greer, you almost left the room.
Yes, I did. I that's where I stood up and walked out when you told me they played school together. So now we're not talking undrafted, even though that should be counted here. Yeah. But here's the Miami Dolphins draft class, everybody.
Yeah.
All right. With the 51st pick, they take Cam Smith out of South Carolina.
Yeah, Gamecock.
They got Devon and how do you say his last name, Evan? A-Chain?
A-Chain, but it's so funny because I was having fun with it on Thursday night. I call him Acme on purpose, but it's A-Chain.
A-Chain. Okay, so Devon A-Chain.
As you said on the earlier show, he's gonna be D-trained the whole.
Yeah, from Texas A&M.
Yeah.
You got Elijah Higgins, who was drafted as a tight, even though he played receiver.
Yeah.
Okay. Great size. We don't have that size at receiver, 6'3", 200 some odd pounds, but tight end. And then of course Ryan Hayes, tackle, Michigan.
That was a Ross pick.
It was a Ross pick. As soon as I saw it, I knew it was a Ross pick. Yeah. So you and I had the same reactions. Again, don't hate the players. It was not about hating on the players.
Love the players.
Love the talent of the players. it was the picks. We had our minds on other guys. All fair. We don't run the organization. We are just fans. But you and I, with guys like Michael Vogel and Stager and Lagasse and Wingate, and we've been following the draft since the beginning, really.
Yeah.
Me a little before. So we had our minds on other prospects, which is fair. Well, yes, we are not in the organization, so they got the players that fit their team. Somebody like Cam Smith, Fangio pick. A-Chain, McDaniel pick. I get that argument. So, excuse me. My bad. What?
I felt like what's his name? Mr. Wilson.
Mr. Well, I know, from the Tim Allen show. So you say, I remember when you and I talked, but it's been 24, 48 hours. You're different now. You're saying best draft class. Are you being sarcastic?
No, I'm being actually serious.
Tease me here. I know you got a show tomorrow.
Alex teased you earlier.
Please do tell.
Alex teased you earlier. Alex teased you earlier. Because let's factor in, and I'm not going to give it away, but what have I been saying for the last 5 months? We're in a 2-year window, and I love that. If you really think about how they drafted and the needs, and then you factor in what they did at every round and where they didn't have picks, in the end, the players that they currently have on their roster versus the potential they would have had in picks, they won the draft because they realized that the players they were able to get for the value of those picks are better than anyone they would have gotten in the draft for the 2-year window that they're in to win.
Okay.
So I'll tease that more
so
tomorrow.
So you're saying Bradley Chubb, first round?
No, I'm not going to go into all the details. I want to frame it, but it's the way that they utilize their draft capital, knowing that they're in the 5-year window with Tua. They did the right thing for what they did. And the one thing I will say is that you said this once, and I'm going to talk about it again tomorrow night. We really believe in this coaching staff. I was harder on McDaniel than any single person in those post-game shows. No one was harder. The fact that they have Fangio there, and you and I have talked about it, if the one thing that killed us last year was injuries. And the one thing about the injuries for the Dolphins, the most difficult place is in a 2-safety system. No matter whether you're Fangio or Boyer, you need to have an excellent secondary. And the fact that they went to go get a guy who potentially could have been a first-round pick also, and if Vic Fangio believes in him, I think we have to believe in that pick. If Mike McDaniel believes that Devon A-Chain is better for his system than Zach Charbonnet, I have to believe that that's what he truly believes. So in that sense, when you factor in all the other weapons that they have on the team and the fact that we're about to gain $13.5 million on June 1st, also the one thing about the fact that we didn't have the fact about all these undrafted free agents and the fact that we didn't have a lot of picks, when we get that $13 million and then we want to start cutting some people, we're going to have that money free because we don't have to sign a first-round pick now. We don't have to sign like a heavy second-round pick, gets some money, but it's not significant compared to a first-round pick. So the overall construction of this roster, there might still be some holes, but Orion, the one thing about I guarantee you most people in the league could not, and most even fans like you and I, like rabid fans, most of us could not name more than 2 offensive linemen on any given football team. Why? Because the offensive linemen are known. A lot of them come out of nowhere, and they do the job that they need to do to win football games. Ryan Hayes was the left tackle for Jim Harbaugh, who's a very, very smart football coach, for over 30 games. And he played that left tackle. He was the starter. To get a starter from a top 10 school, a Big Ten school like that, you're not talking about a nobody. Yes, he might fit into the scheme, but he can compete with Austin Jackson for a backup role. You're going to go sign a veteran in Cam Fleming or Brandon Shell. Like, you're not done yet. So what they did in the draft, I'm okay with them in the end going to get a secondary player because after what happened last year, Xavier Howard is one little step away from injuring himself again. Like, I'm more concerned about Xavier Howard tweaking a groin than Tua getting another concussion, right? Because Tua has to stand there for 5 seconds to get hit with a concussion. Xavier Howard just needs to turn the wrong way, and he's done. And then if he gets hurt, I believe more in Cam Smith coming out of college and Kohu and Needham and Tro Williams right now as my outside guy. So I think it was the right pick. In terms of A-Chain, if that's a Mike McDaniel pick, he's going to utilize it. That's the thing. Mostert and Wilson and all that, they did them on 1-year deals because that was what was convenient for them because Henry and Cook weren't necessarily available.
Let me ask you this because it's all fair points. I think you got very good points, I think.
Yeah.
But you just said that. Okay, so A-Chain, if that's a McDaniel pick, he's going to utilize him. Is it Mozart and Jeff Wilson McDaniel guys, and he didn't utilize them?
Yes, but the difference with those is that they're stopgaps, right? It's the same way where Kyle Shanahan decided I can't deal with these stop guys gap anymore. These players who can bounce around from team to team. I need a stout guy. He believes that now with A-Chain, if he's now his guy to be able to utilize with speed, with Hill, with Waddle next year. None of these Mostert, by the way, none of the 4 guys in the backfield currently, right now, with A-Chain coming on this team, he's the best pass-catching running back we have day one. Mostert's not a great pass catcher. We saw last year Wilson
Don't shake your head like you know.
Who?
Alex, you don't know.
It's true.
Just,
what did I tell you?
Go check how many receptions Mostert had. Also, Mostert gets injured a ton. Wilson, even though he had average like 4.7, 4.8, he did that and he had big games and then he had ant games. And then there was a couple of those games. I remember in Buffalo, we threw him a ball literally in his hand. The Tua threw to him. He dropped it right out of his hands. Wilson, Ahmed and Gaskin are not McDaniel guys. McDaniel, if we end up getting Cook, that's a McDaniel decision.
That's a different story.
Yes, but Devon A-Chain.
Here's my point.
Devon A-Chain. I'll make you a point right now. If we don't get Cook, Devon A-Chain will be the leading rusher on the Miami Dolphins next year
with 700 yards.
No, 1,000.
No.
1,000.
Listen.
You
brought up Shanahan. Hold on. You brought up Shanahan with Mozart and Wilson, and he had to move on and whatever. Let's not pretend. They drafted Elijah Mitchell. What happened with him? They did nothing. You know what they ended up doing? They traded for Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Because they realized they had to go get a star back.
Ayuk is a compatible guy to him.
I understand, but I'm just saying that's the reverse of that argument. So I understand where you're coming from. And I think you know what? I'm going to be very honest with you. I still have my reservations and my little frustrations, but your points are absolutely fair.
Yeah.
I think it's the right way to look at it. I will say, like I told Alex with my criticism of Chris Greer, it's very easy to trade for players. When you trade a fast pay, we got Bradley Chubb. Well, it's very easy to trade for players. It's very easy to throw big money at a player and bring in a Terran Armstead who can't last the season or whatever. It's very easy to do that. What's harder is drafting, making it count. So, and then obviously getting a win, a playoff win. That's all. Give me a playoff win. So, but I'm gonna tell you this, at least in my opinion. I don't know what everybody else thinks, but I think you have valid points. Makes me feel it makes me feel better.
Wait till tomorrow.
Well, it's like I have to take a lot of shots of vodka before watching one of your shows, but I will watch.
But across the board, you can say right now, clean slate. The Dolphins right now are a better football team than they were last year.
Yes, 100%.
I think we can all say that
because of Vic
Fangio, Jalen Ramsey. Bradley Chubb another year.
And there's depth.
Let me say this, and let me just say this very quick. Evan, I'll let you have it. Jalen Ramsey, he kind of hinted at something, and Evan, you said something in the comments.
Mm-hmm.
This is where I'm going to be very intrigued because that's the first thing Evan and I discussed. Well, we discussed in the draft show as soon as we got down off the we came down. We looked at the safety. I said, well, what if he went down? What if he was projected for a safety role? And it makes sense, right? We don't know how Brandon Jones is going to fit or how he's going to come back. But then you start to look at it. What if it's Jalen Ramsey who's moved to safety? And Cam Smith comes into place next to Xavier Howard.
Absolutely.
With Javon Holland. Now, that's a different conversation. Trill Williams is coming back. That's a different conversation. But what's still a question mark on the Miami Dolphins football team right now? That was a question mark before.
Tight end. Tight end O-line.
Not tight end. Well, yeah, tight end for sure. But O-line. You know what I'm saying?
But the thing about O-line, and I've said this on the draft show, the O-line when you look at the O-line of Cincinnati, give you an example of Cincinnati. People love talking about how Cincinnati's in the top 2 or 3 echelon. Their offensive line last year was worse than the Dolphins. They somehow got to where they were because of Joe Burrow, but their offensive line ended up crapping the bed. If you right now, if Toronto, the problem with the reason,
so what you're saying is we need a legitimate franchise quarterback. That's what you're trying to say.
We do have a legitimate franchise quarterback this year.
No, that's not what I was trying to say. He said that what he's
Because I
trying
want to
say.
keep on reminding people of the fact that I'm going to keep on harping on the
Man.
fact. Concussions
They're
or
just
not,
two haters.
he did not
They're
have a
just
thumb
two
injury
haters.
last year.
Two haters.
Whoa. He did not have a hip injury. He did not have a hand injury. He did not have a thumb injury.
He had a
He had a
back
concussion
injury. Thank
issue.
He had a back injury.
Thank you.
He had a back injury, which was
He's
actually a
not injury
concussion. Which,
prone. It's concussion.
He is. Shut
Not
up,
injury
Alex.
prone.
I swear to God.
okay.
Stop.
They don't
But-
understand, Evan. They
But
don't
think about this.
understand.
Even
Please,
with
Alex,
missing,
don't
no,
understand.
even with missing
Please,
the time that he
Alex.
did, even with
Argue
missing
all
the
you
time,
want about how he plays as a starting quarterback. You cannot argue his injuries. Stop.
yes.
Stop.
You know what the difference though is? But the difference is, and you've talked, and I have talked about this. He was in the MVP conversation, and at the end of the year, he had the best
In the
Thank you.
mid-season, he
downfield
was-
percentage of.
in the
And
mid-season,
it wasn't. Yeah.
he was in the
Oh, wait,
MVP
wait.
conversation.
Let me-
Mid-season.
It doesn't matter.
No, but let me
It doesn't
repeat something.
matter.
He did
Yes,
not.
it
The
does
team.
matter.
The team was not in the top 10. It wasn't even in the top 10 in yak last year, and he still led the league in deep ball passes
Sure.
and
Tyreek Hill. Yeah.
and passer rating. Passer rating, you don't just do that because Tyreek Hill. Because I don't want to hear the crap about the fact you have weapons. Every
Yes.
good quarterback has weapons. Tell me Patrick Mahomes went to the Super Bowl last year without Travis Kelce. So I don't want to hear the nonsense that you don't have a stout weapon to win the Super Bowl or to
Exactly.
win a playoff game.
Oh, come on.
No, let me finish.
dude.
No, let me finish.
That's true.
Every
That's
great
true.
player.
That's actually true.
Joe Burrow is successful. Whoa.
Listen, fanboy back there, just
Joe
stay
Burrow,
second for
Joe
a second.
Burrow would not be the quarterback that he is without T.
Take
Higgins
Jamar
and
Chase
Jamar Chase.
out of Joe.
Take Jamar Chase. Take Stephon Diggs. Josh Allen was a crappy quarterback before he got Stephon Diggs. So don't want to hear this crap. His best year was his third year. His best year was his third year. Tua's best year was his third year. Don't do that. Go look at Josh Allen's stats his first 2 years.
I don't care about Josh Allen.
Quarterback.
I'm not talking about Josh Allen.
I
You
know.
guys are the ones who always bring up other quarterbacks. I never bring up other. I talk about the one
But I'm
guy.
not worried about Tua next year
I
because
see
Tua's
facts.
showing
see nothing.
things. Tua
He's
is doing
smoking
things
mirrors.
this
You
year
see smoke and
that he
mirrors.
needs to do.
Facts.
On the O line, the reason I'm not worried about the O line is because the O
Evan
line
just
right
came out
now.
guns blazing.
The thing about the O line is I do believe Connor Williams.
Watch
is
him
one
on a
of the top
post game
players
show.
last
You'll see
year.
a different Evan.
No, you won't.
Go ahead, Evan. Yes, you would.
Connor
You
Williams,
will.
McDaniel. Connor Williams was one of the best centers as a blocker and along the line last year. Robert Hunt is going into his third, fourth year. He's going to be he's a great player. We're worried about Austin Jackson, but in the end, you're going to sign a Cameron Fleming. Ryan Hayes might be a good player. You might sign a Brandon Shell again. You're going to go get someone to help you on that side. You still have Robert Jones. You still have a developing Austin Jackson and Liam Eichenberg, but at the same time, you still have elements. You have Dan Feeney. But the key for that it doesn't matter. By the way, the key for that O line is Teron Armstead. That O line does not struggle if Teron Armstead is there. When he's there, the difference is that I think now what he's realizing and what they're going to learn in this OTAs for Xavier. One thing I know the Dolphins are going to do, especially McDaniel, is he's going to find the best medical ways to manage Teron Armstead, Xavier Howard, and Tua, because those are your three linchpins of your defense, of your line, and of your and then your quarterback. Those, I'm telling you, the medical levels of what they're going to do during the OTAs and training camp, they know they have to watch out for injuries this year, and they're going to manage this much better.
I want to piggyback into one thing. I had told Bobby this before. The one part of comfort that I take in is when they announced that Connor Williams is going to play center, everyone across the board was questioning if that was even possible. Can he actually make that move?
Not me.
We trusted this coaching staff. We trusted the offensive line coach, and he was successful making that move. The part to me that the fans never got to see was Austin Jackson at right tackle because he got hurt the first game. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people with his improvement on the right side. I think his footwork is much better on the right side. That's just me. Like I said, I don't watch that much film. I saw him minimal times, but I do believe that Austin Jackson will be the surprise this season on the offensive line. People are going to remember his name. And Robert Hunt, like you said, he's coming into his own. You don't want to start moving Robert Hunt. You got to keep him on guard. You keep, obviously, Connor at center. And you got
the keys to this football team. The keys to this football team. You say Teron Armstead, when healthy. What happened when he went out? The offensive line fell apart. That's what happens when your general manager throws a lot of money at a guy who can't stay healthy. And we needed a right tackle, not a left tackle. And then you go look at the quarterback.
But he didn't get
Hold on. You had 20 minutes to give your. And here comes Mr. Now he's shaking his head. First, it was all this. Now it's
because it's once again the narrative. Everybody, Chris Gear gives money to people that can't stay on the field. We've heard,
but it's freaking
times.
true.
But maybe he's turning a new leaf because he would have drafted. He should have picked Darnell Washington if it was typical Chris Greer.
Exactly.
Darnell Washington. He has red flags. But did Darnell Washington miss a game? Shut it. Did Darnell Washington miss a
There you
game
go,
last
see?
year? Did
Yeah, but
Darnell
also
Washington miss a game?
but
Did
Darnell
Darnell Washington miss a game last
But
year?
his stats were not fantastic. He's just a great blocker.
Because he wasn't the receiver there.
Because
Brock
Bowers was there.
So don't say that.
I think he's a bust. I think Darnell Washington's a bust. I'm gonna say it here.
Oh, you're just being a freaking hater. You're just trying to piss me off. That's exactly what you're trying to do.
He has bust written all over him.
2018, 19, 2020, 2021, 2022. That's every year.
But I want to remind
injury.
everybody the Miami Dolphins gave up the 29th least amount of pressures in the league. Tua was his own worst enemy last year. Let's just make it clear: the O-line did not cost them the game. But also, the big problem with McDaniel is that he was supposed to have a different scheme in terms of how the running game managed, and when he worked, he got away from that because he was a prisoner of the throwing game. That's why I'm very dead set in getting a star running back on this team, because that gives him no choice but to go to him.
That's right.
Not using. That's why I don't believe in Mostert. That's why I don't believe in
McDaniel's going to make the adjustments. That's part of his growth process too.
No. But I believe that. But I believe he thinks that if they can, in the end, we believe that if they can't get Cook or Henry, it's going to be Mostert and A-Chain. That's who it's going to be. The guy who's not going to be available right now is Jeff Wilson. Jeff Wilson was a stopgap because and so was Achman and Gaskin. They're on 1-year deals. They're easily cuttable at post June 1st, and it's not a big deal, right? So the fact that they drafted a running back at this early, like they did with Kenyon Drake, this guy's going to be here for at least 5 years. And
let's not pretend that the injuries itself, just throwing back this up before we go to our final thing here, but injuries were not only the thing that Tua went through last year, okay, but it was also struggling in December, which again, the 3 years he's been playing, 2 years, we'll say 2 years, because the first year was played a few games where I'm in and out. It's been a problem. He struggled last year.
He struggled. Let's be careful. There's 4 games in December.
Oh, Alex, stop with the excuses. Now concussions are. Please. The year before it was concussions too? Was the year before concussions?
I'm going to break down your argument.
Oh, now it's inexperience. Where's the goal line?
I'm about to screw your argument. I'm about to screw your argument.
There's no
the Green Bay game. He was dominating before he got concussed. That game was over if he wouldn't have got concussed.
Not true.
Yes, he was. Go look at the first half.
It is true. He was dominating.
Go watch that game again.
Let him finish his point, Alex.
Until they were dominating the game until he got concussed. Then he got concussed and he threw the 3 interceptions.
Facts.
The game against Buffalo.
Keep spitting.
The game against Buffalo. The game against Buffalo.
You're gonna have to spit after it's been in your mouth. The game against Buffalo.
He was the better quarterback in that game. Mike McDaniel shot the bed. Every time it was 3rd and 1 and 3rd and 2, he threw the freaking ball. And it was the most predictable throw on a slant to Hill, on a slant to Waddle. We all knew it. I closed my eyes and go, McDaniel, you fucking moron.
Let's McDaniel. Let's not do
it. Okay. The LA game was a 100% McDaniel screw up because of the fact that let me finish. The San Francisco game was totally on Tua. The LA game, when you saw the read of Staley using Fangio's team, you kept on throwing it up the middle, never going to the sidelines. That game was completely lost on McDaniel. He was completely shell-shocked by Staley and the defensive scheme that they had that game. So the only thing that Tua screwed up on was the San Francisco game. The other game was an overall factor. So in theory, had McDaniel been a better coach that season, that year, those games, they should have been 2-2 in December.
So now we're shitting on McDaniel again.
I'm not shitting on McDaniel.
You are
rookie head coach. No, he made rookie mistakes. Tua had a rough. He started off okay in
so inexperience.
Yes.
So we're going to give Tua a pass for inexperience, but not
he was 2-2.
He
was 2-2.
Oh, you guys are full of crap.
I see valid points. I see all facts. All facts.
Yeah. You're both full of
fake
shit.
Fake news, Bobby.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for admitting it.
By the way, can I ask you a question, Bobby?
Yeah.
Why did the Dolphins sell 305 hats when the local line in my Hard Rock Stadium to call the players was a 954 number?
I don't know.
Cam Smith even said in his interview, when I saw that 954 number pop up, I was like jumping for joy. I go, 954 and the 305? What's going on? Because I know my phone number is 954-454-8720 and Florida. In Broward County.
You got to change that line. Because even Hard Rock Stadium is still Miami-Dade County line before Broward. So
I'm a 954 guy. That's why, because I'm a 954 guy. I remember my Florida. My Florida number's up here like this.
Let me do this very quick. Hold on.
And if we're about to do franchises for whole movies, I'm gonna have a blast.
Yeah, we're gonna do that.
Oh, if you don't have my movie on there,
let's do this. This is fun.
You better have my movie on.
So
there.
this is great. This is best movie franchises. Then we're going to close it out.
If you don't have the best 3 movies combined ever on that list, shame on you.
It's not me. I didn't make the fucking list.
You're screwed over.
All right.
He did not make.
All right. So here, let's go. Hey, okay. So what we're going to do?
Chris Jericho is going to be very upset. He's from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada.
Oh,
He's going to be very upset if the movie didn't make the list.
Bob,
All right, you ready?
Stanza.
Evan, you go first. Pick one of the two, and then Alex, and then me.
X-Men.
Okay, Alex.
I can't see. I don't know why I can't see the screen.
It's X-Men or Planet of the Apes.
Hold on, Alex. Hold on.
X-Men for sure.
Is that better?
There you go. Perfect. That's perfect.
X-Men?
Yeah. X-Men.
All right.
Yeah.
I would have said Planet of the Apes. I can't stand X-Men, but I'll put X-Men because you both said it. All right. Oh, Jesus. They can't get an uglier Shrek or
oh man.
What the hell are those called?
That's Transformers.
Thank you, Transformers.
Unless
I say Shrek.
Movie, but
I say Shrek.
I say Shrek.
Because I look like Shrek.
Oh man.
Oh,
I gotta go Transformers. I love Shrek.
No, Puss in Boots.
I'm
Come on.
Prime.
Puss in Boots.
Yeah, I look. I like Transformers. It's not like how I feel. I can't stand X-Men. I like Transformers, but I think Shrek is the better
Puss in
franchise.
Boots.
Yeah.
Which people don't know, as Shrek, Chris Farley actually have filmed.
Yeah, he did. He was supposed to be Shrek.
People don't realize that. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely true.
I see. I'm going to lose this one because I can't stand Lord of the Rings. I'm going to say Marvel.
I say Lord of the Rings.
I hate Lord of the Rings.
Marvel.
I say Lord of the Rings. I think Lord of the Rings.
My buddy, my brother. By the way, but Alex, you know when I come the last week of June, first 2 weeks of July, steak dinner on me, buddy?
Oh, absolutely. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm here for 3 weeks. I'm gonna be in Florida for 3 weeks in June and July.
Okay.
Star Trek. Let me know the time.
The Star Trek movies. Star Trek.
I'm not a Matrix guy. I hate Keanu Reeves.
Alex.
Matrix for me.
Star Trek. I'm a Trekkie.
I like these both, but I became a Star Trek movie guy.
I'm related to William Shatner, like he's like my fifth cousin. So
there you go. I like. It was funny. I never liked Star Trek. I was always a Star Wars guy until one day I was cleaning the house and I left Wrath of Khan on, and I fell in love with it. After that, I could watch them all. I was except for the Patrick. I never seen Patrick Stewart ones, but the Wrath of Khan, the Kirk, William Shatner ones, I love. So I'm gonna go with that. Ooh, that's hard. I'm going
Easy.
Rocky.
Oh,
Rocky.
Man. Yeah, Rocky.
Die Hard's a Christmas movie.
It is. Men in Black.
Yeah, Men in Black.
Same here.
You got to talk. You got to speak up.
I
gotta go.
Fast and Furious.
I go Fast and Furious.
I'm going because of what's his name passing away. I feel bad.
Oh, that.
Pirates.
Oh.
Pirates all day.
Pirates of the Caribbean. I roll with that. I like Pirates.
Jack Sparrow.
I can't stand.
Oh, okay. So X-Men between Shrek. I still go Shrek. I don't like X-Men.
I like Shrek. Somebody once told me the world.
Marvel.
Star Trek.
Marvel.
Rocky.
Oh, Rocky. You can't go wrong with it.
Pirates.
Pirates. By the way, Marvel.
Marvel.
Rocky. By the way, if my 3 movies are on the other side, I quit. My favorite trequel is not there. Rocky. But by the way, Rocky 2 and Rocky 5 are the 2 of the worst movies ever. It's all about 1, 3, and 4.
Yes.
Oh my God. I know. Obviously, I know who's going to win here. But have you guys seen Jack Ryan?
I love Jack Ryan.
I'm talking. No, you see, you're looking at. I've never seen this series, but I will say Harrison Ford Jack Ryan's.
This Jack Ryan's very good.
I like the Jack Ryan Harrison Ford. So
yeah, Jack Ryan's very good.
You want to hear something bad? I've never seen Mission Impossible, so I would have to go Jack Ryan.
Wait, you've never seen Mission Impossible?
Nope.
Never.
None of them.
None of them. Not one.
Jack Ryan.
Wow. That's
James
insane.
Bond.
Bob,
James Bond.
Oh, for sure. James Bond to me is my favorite.
This is freaking hard.
I love Indiana Jones. I hate Jurassic Park.
But Jurassic Park. I love Jurassic Park, but I love Indiana Jones.
I hate dinosaurs. Toy Story. Toy Story by a mile. I hate Alien.
Ocean. Oh no, Star Wars. I gotta go Star Wars. I love Oceans, but
you're a big
Star
Wars guy.
I hate Star Wars,
I go-
but after
I go
Ocean's 11 was great, but 12 and 13 were awful. So I
But
guess
they
I'll
were
go
still
Star Wars.
fun. Those were still
No.
fun movies.
No,
Yeah.
Star Wars then. I hate Star Wars, but anyways, go for it.
How can you hate Star Wars? Because you're a Trekkie?
Terminator.
Terminator. I'm really pissed if it doesn't show up.
This is
Bond.
hard, but you got to go Bond.
Bond.
Indiana Jones.
I can't believe it's not here. I quit.
Wait.
I don't think it's done. I don't think we're done.
No,
Okay,
when
we're
we
not
get to
done,
the
right?
bottom,
'Cause we're missing
my
Godfather
favorite
here.
trilogy ever is not there, and I'm going to tell you what it is after.
Okay. What are we going
It
here?
has to be the Godfather here.
No, this is Indiana Jones.
Godfather should be there. I don't know where it is.
Indiana
yet.
Jones. No, that's not what it is.
Jones.
Indiana Jones.
Star Wars.
Bro, is there the
Star Wars.
Bourne Ultimatum, the Saw series? Like, come on, guys.
Here we go.
Oh,
Batman. I'm a
Dark
Batman
Knight,
fan.
I'm a Batman fanatic.
I'm a Batman fiend.
Dark Knight. Bond.
Bond. Dark
Star
Knight.
Wars.
Oh, we're gonna fight. I'm a
Dark Knight.
Batman guy.
What?
I'm a Batman guy. So
I'm a diehard Batman guy, but really? I mean, Batman's my Michael Keaton, the original. I'm gonna go with Batman.
Christian
I'm okay
Bale. No, the Christian Bale. The first Christian Bale one was the best one of all of them.
Oh, Bond.
with-
The second one with Joker. Heath Ledger's performance, the greatest Batman performance I've ever seen.
Sure.
It is.
Right.
You don't believe it?
James Bond.
Bond.
I'm a Dark
I'm
Knight
the
guy.
original.
I'm going Dark Knight.
Alex.
I'm going Bond. I mean, you can argue Bond is the best trilogy or series of all times.
Rocky.
I
can't
Damn,
believe
they
it's
did
not
not
there.
have. They did not have
Godfather, Saw,
The Godfather. Wow.
No, that's not my favorite
What's going on
trilogy.
here?
What is it?
I'm going to give you one line from the movie.
Okay, I'm ready. Let's go.
Great Scott.
Oh, Back to the Future. That's true.
You know, coming out with a Broadway. I'm going to see it in New York. They're coming out with a Broadway show for it. It's the
Are
best.
they really?
Oh my God, yeah, Michael. Yeah, it is my favorite movie trilogy of all time. It is the greatest movie. Power Lace is all right. The Almanac. It's the Back to the Future 2 is the coolest movie
Hey,
ever.
that list. There was a lot of good movies.
I could do
missing
that
from
movie all day
list.
long. McFly, come on. You know how many times I go up to my kid who doesn't listen, I smack him over the head, say, make it like a tree and leave? Or make it a tree and get out of here.
That was a classic, man.
It's so good.
It's funny because my kids have watched it now,
Yeah.
and it's still.
Oh, Huey
it's
Lewis,
still
and again,
cool.
Huey Lewis's song's still in my head.
Yeah,
Our love is a beautiful thing. Make another man weep. I'm not going to start singing. I'm an
Power
awful
Love.
singer.
Yeah.
Power Love.
The power of love.
It's so good. Johnny Be Good.
Yep.
Johnny Be
That's
Good.
Those are, but I can't believe. Yeah, that's a great point.
I don't know how
Back to the Future,
Godfather's not there.
The Godfather, like that doesn't make any sense to me.
Mm.
Like I can understand the Saw or Halloween or Fred. Those
Yeah.
are horror movies. You know, yeah, they're franchises, but should they be counted? But like, you don't have Godfather. Whoever made that list,
You don't
at that
have
point.
Major Leagues 1, 2, and 3. That's insane.
Well, that's right. But 3 was awful. 3 was awful. Because they went to the back to the minors. But by the way, Major League is
Yeah.
a great movie.
Major League is awesome,
So
and the star.
Hiroshi Kamikaze Tanaka. Gotta love that guy. Climbing the fence and waiting for the
I
ball.
think it's safe to say, as
Roger
Miami
Dorn.
fans, as Miami
Pedro
fans,
Serrano.
so the Dolphins, interesting draft, but everyone has high hopes on the season. Really depends on the health of your quarterback, your tackle. I think quarterback's more important, but quarterback, your tackle. Does the coach develop? Since
Can I
that's
make it-
such a problem.
Yeah.
Still taking the AFC East. Put it here. Mark it down. What day?
You
is today?
said it. I hear
Today
you.
is May 1st.
But you know what the crazy part is?
AFC
They have it's as shocking as it is heading into next season. They have less pressure than the Jets and the Bills.
Oh,
Because
I don't know about the Bills, but the Jets for sure
For
have a
sure.
ton of.
the-
like, I-
the-
If
I-
that
look, I'm not
offense
gonna
struggles,
be.
if
I'm not
that
gonna
offense
be.
struggle.
Well, it shouldn't, right? I mean, that's why it's so much pressure. You have Aaron Rodgers, you got Breece Hall, you got OBJ. No, I'm sorry, not OBJ. You have
Lazard.
Thank you, Lazard. You got
EJ Moore.
Wilson. You got
Is
all
EJ
those.
Moore or not EJ Moore? EJ Moore's in Chicago.
No,
Who's the other
no.
guy?
He got traded. But
Elijah Moore. Isn't it Elijah Moore?
Didn't
on
he
the
get
team?
traded? Didn't he get traded? I thought
Yeah,
Moore got
DJ
traded.
Moore. No, DJ Moore is on the.
No,
on
DJ
the
went
Bears.
to
The
Chicago.
Bears. Yeah, isn't it Elijah Moore on the team?
I thought he got
Elijah
traded.
Moore.
I thought Elijah
No, he
Moore.
asked
But
for
it don't
a trade,
matter.
but
But
he
either
stayed.
way,
He stayed.
Yes,
we all can agree that there's no reason for them. They're going to be on prime time. Teams are the NFL's going to be all riding them high because they're going to think with Aaron Rodgers and everything on there, even though Aaron Rodgers struggled last year with the Packers, that they think they're going to be some hot rod team. So yeah, there's a
They're gonna
lot of
struggle.
pressure in New York, you know. So we can understand when the brackets or the record predictions come out, people are going to have the Jets probably number 1 or 2, Dolphins 3, Buffalo number 2. That's where
I don't know how they're doing.
Well, it's because you look at the quarterbacks, right? You go
Well, the
Aaron
Miami Dolphins
Rodgers.
have the greatest quarterback. We have the best backup quarterback in the NFL. You do realize that, right?
Tell me how Mike White is.
Mike White's on our backup.
You're gonna give me a okay, Skylar Thompson. You're gonna give me a silly stat. Tell me.
No, Mike White and Skylar Thompson. Those are our third and fourth quarterbacks. We all know for a fact that if Tua gets hurt,
Tom Brady's
our quarterback. Like, it's not even funny.
I knew it.
Bobby fell right into it.
I knew it.
Right? Like, we have the best backup quarterback in the league. You know it.
Me and him talked
true.
about
No,
it.
but Bobby, you're
If
telling
Tua
me that
gets hurt,
Tom Brady will not cut. You're telling me with a straight face. You're telling me the team is 8-3 or 9-4. Tua goes down with a devastating injury that he could not have controlled.
I absolutely believe
He literally gets.
But I don't
pushed
want
in.
you say no. Not that I would be. I would.
Brady can come in tomorrow and throw the ball.
I would be ecstatic because then that's a great backup option.
Yeah,
plan.
he is the backup option.
But I would hope that in 8-3, 8-4, the biggest hope is for Tua to be healthy 100% of the time.
Tua's going to be healthy. I'm saying that's my point. The thing about the Dolphins right now is that they're a sexy team to a lot of people who want to play.
That's why I'm not worried that if it's not the case, if he gets hurt again or he blows the 5-game thing, then we're gonna have somebody wanting to come here. And you know what? I'm already started the homework of next season's draft. I already did. I pulled 300. I have an Excel sheet. I'm gonna, and the quarterback.
You don't even know everyone who's declared for the draft, though. You only know who's draft eligible.
Exactly, and that's why you prep. And whoever's not, you take them off. You ass, you smart ass. So let me get to what I want to say. Always got something to say. You can never just let me talk. Well, I don't know, Drake May. It's
Can I ask you the person who I think really his stock really dropped, and maybe if Cristobal can figure something out, because he potentially was going to be a topic with Van Dyke.
Yeah.
Van Dyke was talked about for this year's draft. Cristobal destroyed him last year. If Cristobal can redeem him this year, then maybe he'll be a top first round pick.
Absolutely, it's a wait and see. But anyway, we are at the 11:20
Richardson's going to be a bust, mind you. Richardson's going to be a bust.
I don't think so. I'm not going to hate on
If they
Richardson.
start him this year, he's a bust. They better redshirt him for 2 years.
I think I don't know if I don't know who's the
got better
backup
at way.
quarterback, but I think the same
Who
thing.
had the
Will
best
Levis.
passer? Who had the best completion percentage last year for most of the year? Well,
Most of the year.
Tua with concussion threw better completion percentage than Richardson did in college. Richardson.
Who gives a shit? Why do you keep
drafted
comparing everyone?
his completion percentage was 54%. His completion
Come on.
percentage last year was
Did he finish the year?
54%.
Stop. Did he finish the year?
He had a concussion.
Was he
bro.
no? Shut. No, wait. Was he an MVP candidate at the
Christ,
end of the
man.
year?
Who?
No.
Yes,
How
he
can you
was.
say we keep talking about 8-3? We keep
He
talking
was a
about
Pro Bowler.
He was an
He was a
MVP.
Pro
Hold
Bowler.
on. Yeah, because someone got hurt. He was an MVP guy
Facts.
at midpoint of the season. How was he doing at the end of the year? How was he in that 5-game stretch when we were losing before he got hurt? Oh, crickets. Thank you.
How was Lamar Jackson for the last?
Who
6
gives a
games
shit
of the
about
year?
Lamar Jackson? I'm talking about the Dolphins quarterback.
You all wanted Lamar Jackson.
I did not want Lamar Jackson.
Most fans did.
Not me. So don't say you all. I did not. I did it.
He doesn't realize I'm pressing his buttons on purpose.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. All I
Don't
see is
say
facts.
all of us.
Facts, man.
Hey guys, what's the word of the day?
We don't have
Pick
one.
wads.
Facts.
No word of the day.
Facts. No word
Facts.
of the
As
day
Alex
today.
says, it's facts.
Just facts.
No, I don't think
Just
there is a
facts.
word of the day. We want to get one together unless Alex wants to come up with
No,
one very
not
quick
today.
before we close it out.
Word of the day? Let me
Yeah,
see
give
what
us a
I
word of the
haven't
day,
used.
Alex.
Word of the day.
Give us
I
something.
can give you a
interesting.
phrase.
All right, go.
Like a phrase. Like me cago en tu madre. That's a phrase. A
English.
literal translation is I shit on your mom. But it's us Cubans say it for like anything that could happen. Like we could be walking and something falls and breaks. You're like, me cago en tu madre. And you just go and pick it up. It's just an expression that we use on a day-to-day. Like you stub
So
your
say
toe.
it
Like,
slowly, so for someone like Evan to know how to say it.
to know how to say it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna do the fanatics.
Don't say it too loud because your mother's walking around.
Yeah, probably. Me cago en tu madre.
Say it, Evan.
No, I'm not saying it.
Come on, Evan. Say it.
Come on, Evan. Say it, yeah.
Say what?
Yeah.
Say it
Say
again.
what?
He wasn't paying attention. How rude. He asked the question, wasn't he paying attention?
Me cago en tu madre.
Me cago.
Ajá.
Me cago what?
Me cago en.
En.
Not you see the Canadian count.
En. Me cago en.
Tu madre.
Tu madre. Lechtis dayen, which means go F yourself in Hebrew.
There you go.
Do you guys know what a toque is in the United States of America?
No.
Oh my gosh. My mother-in-law's watching. She's laughing.
Do you know what a toque is?
No.
No. Enlighten us.
What do you think people wear in that toque in the winter that covers your ears? That hat with the pom-pom? That's a toque.
The little
That's
hat in the temple?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's a toque.
The hat in the temple is a two?
A toque.
Is that with the hanging little that looks like it has like pigtails?
Yeah.
Or
No,
that's
that's a form of a toque. That's one form of a toque.
Okay.
All right.
You know what you guys have a lot of? What's a Canadian saying? Snowbird. Do you know what a snowbird is? You know where the snowbirds go?
What?
Snowbirds go to Miami. Yeah.
They come to Hialeah.
So let me just thank everyone for tuning in to East 10th Street Boys, straight out of Hialeah. That's this way. That's Alex the boy. That's Evan Posner.
George
Facts,
Stanza.
We had a blast talking Dolphins draft, talking Tua, because that always comes up.
Go Panthers.
Miami Heat, Florida Panthers. Had a lot of fun. Go Heat. Go
Carlos still
Panthers.
sucks.
Go Fins. Like, subscribe, and Fins up.
Rat time.
Oh, that's right.
Throw the rats on the ice. Let's go.
Facts.
Why is it not going? Stop touching. Who's touching?
Facts.
Screw your facts. It's bullshit.
Facts.